everyone, it's Alex again. I'm here to show you a few tips on creating your own mug rug for our January grab and go craft. So that's the project that we're working on today. And your completed mug rug is going to look like this. We have a variety of different colors for you to pick up on Tuesday, January 12th. The kits are available and they are on a first come, first serve basis. Pick up your kit and that will have all your supplies in it. You can make your mug rug. I'll give you the pattern and the standard size, but you can make it as big or as small as you want. I've given you a generous amount of yarn in each kit, so you can go a little bit bigger. This was my sample that I made about a month ago in this mauve color. I then made one that was more square shaped with longer fringe. I used thicker yarn as well. You can, if you want to make your own at home with some, for gifts or anything like that, you can buy your own yarn as well. And the thicker yarn makes it just a little bit higher and more raised, but it still comes out really nice with the thicker yarn as well. Everyone will have like a very standard smaller gauged yarn to start out with. I think it's easier when you're first starting out to start with a smaller gauged yarn. So those are what they're going to look like when you're completed. And in your kit, each kit is going to have 22 yards of yarn. The rug will only calls for 20, but I put extra in if you do want to make it bigger. And you'll have a 6.5 crochet hook, and you're going to have a one large-eyed needle to finish it off at the end. So let's get started on our project. I also want to mention to you that we have a knitting magazine, Knit Simple, that you can check out at the library if you're interested in knitting. We have crochet books here at the library. There's knitting and crochet books on the Overdrive website, and you can download those through the Libby app. So there's a lot of resources out there if you do enjoy doing this and you want to take it a step further. I'm a super basic beginner for crochet, and the women that taught me are part of our knitting and crochet group here at the library, and they're starting Zoom meetings this month, and the first one is going to be January 20th at 6 p.m. We'll have the registration links out for that shortly. And if you're interested and you enjoy this and you want to learn more, they're wonderful. They'll teach you just about anything. I've crocheted blankets, I've knit scarves. They've taught me how to do all that. And so that's something that's open to you too if you're interested in joining that group as well. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do with your 22 yards of yarn is you're going to want to cut 24-inch pieces for the fringe at the end. So you're going to cut 24-inch pieces and put that aside, and then you'll know how much yarn you have to work with. If you want to make it bigger than the sample that I'm calling for, you can make it wider if you want, or narrower, that's up to you. So take those 20 pieces and put them aside. And the first thing, I'm going to change positions so that you can see my hands and be over my shoulder and have a better view of the actual crochet stitches. In your bag are 2 pages of instructions. Okay, they have pictures of the 2 basic stitches that we're going to be doing. The first one is the chain stitch, and the second one is a half double crochet stitch. So those are the 2 stitches that we're going to be working with on this project. Very basic, very simple. Also too, the crochet needle and crochet hook and the needle, when you're done with them at the end, so we can recycle and use them for other library projects too. If you could then, when you're done with the project, and if you want to buy more yarn and do a couple more for yourself, but if you could return them to the library, because we will do other craft projects that will call for them, and that will kind of help save us some money on our budget. If you could put them in the paper bag and throw them in the drop box when you're done, that would be great, and then we'll reuse them for another project going forward. So the first thing you're going to want to do is do your knot to start off. I learned this from one of the actually children's books on needlework, and it was very simple. You're going to take your yarn and make 2 E's. Okay, you've got 2 E's. And then you're going to take, and let's get a bigger tail on that too. You're going to want to make the tail bigger. All right, you can see that. And you're going to take 1 E and bring it inside the other one. And then you're going to pull. And this is your slip knot. This is where you're going to put your crochet hook. We're going to make it a little smaller just by pulling the one end. And you're going to put your crochet hook through it and then make it a little smaller. In addition to this video too, if you find it helpful going on YouTube and searching for the different stitches as well, feel free to do that, because whenever I have a question with crocheting or knitting and the ladies aren't around to help me, I usually go to YouTube. Alrighty, so we're gonna unwind some of my yarn here so we can get started. So the first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna hold your crochet needle, make that loop a little bit smaller. You're going to hold the extra string that's attached to your ball of string in one hand, and you are going to do 15 chain stitches. So the chain stitch is, there's 4 steps in the chain stitch as indicated on your diagram. You're going to take a little bit of yarn, and this is called a yarn over. You're going to put it over your hook, okay? And you're going to bring it through our loop. And that's our first, okay? Now we're going to do it again. We're going to do it 14 more times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, almost there, 14, 15. So we've done 15 stitches, and one of the things that I put on your sheet too is the looser that you do them, the easier it is to work with them, work with the stitches as you're going forward. If you pull your loop really tight and your stitches really tight, it's going to be harder. It is a wide hook at the end. It's going to be harder to get them through. You'll have a really tight rug at the end, but it will be a little bit more difficult to work with. So just keep that in mind. So now we're going to go in the opposite direction, okay? We're going to turn this. So we've done 15 chain stitches, and now this is where the half double crochet stitches come in. So if you go to your second page, you're going to yarn over, and going over the yarn this way is called yarn over. And then you are going to go in between there's a little hole in between these stitches right here. And you're going to bring your hook through. You're going to yarn over one more time. You're going to make sure it gets in that hook there. And you're going to bring it through the first hole. And now you're going to take this loop right here and bring it through the other two loops. And in the beginning, feel free to just, once you get going and you get a rhythm going and you get your first row done, it'll be easier to do. But if you need to pick them up and pull it through the first few times to get used to it, that's how I learned. It makes it a little bit easier as you're learning. So you're going to yarn over. And again, where you want to go through is let me show you. You're going to go right here. And if you use your needle, that might make it easier for you to go through, to widen up the needle. So you've yarned over. You go through the hole. You yarn over again. And then you bring it back through the hole you just came through. So now you have 3 loops. You're going to take the third loop and bring it through the first 2 loops, and you go through them like that. Okay, so that is called a half double crochet stitch. So you've done 2 of them now. We're going to yarn over. You're going to go through the next hole. And if your stitch is a little tight, it might. Then we're going to yarn over again, bring it back through that hole that you just went through, have your 3 loops, and bring the first loop through the second and third. So this is what your stitches are going to start looking like. I'll do one more. Yarn over, go through the next hole, bring it through, and now bring it through two more times. So this is what we're looking like. Okay, so after you do a row, I have a completed one here. This is after 2 rows, so this is what it's kind of looking like. It's going to start looking like something. So once you do your half double crochets 14 times, at the very end, and I'm going to pull this out one stitch to show you, you'll get to the very end, you'll do back 14, and on the 15th, because we did 15 chain stitches, on the 15th one, you're not going to do a half double crochet, you're just going to yarn over and bring it through the loop. So at the very end, when you get to your last stitch, I'll do that again. You've gone through, you've done your 14 stitches, you're at the very end of your rope, of your yarn. You're all the way at the end. You're just going to yarn over, do another chain stitch, bring it through, and then you turn it so you can go in the next direction. Okay, and then you start again. You do the yarn over, and now the hole where you're going through is going to be quite a bit more apparent because there'll be big gaps. You'll go through your hole, you bring it back, and you have your 3 loops. You're going to take the first loop, bring it through second and third loop, and that's your stitch. And see, you're going to have these bigger gaps here. It'll be easier to see. Yarn over. We're going to go through this hole right here. I'm going to yarn over on this side. We have our 3 loops. Take the first loop through loop 2 and 3. There we go. If at any point, I'll show you, I'm going to yarn over, go through, yarn over again, come back. Because every now and then, you know, you might snag an extra piece of yarn, or maybe not make it through the loops correctly. If you need to pull your stitch out, just gently pull it out, and it will bring you back to where you started, and you can put your crochet hook in and start again. Yarn over, go through that hole, yarn over one more time, 3 loops, take the first loop, and go through second and third loop. And like I said, as you keep the yarn very loose, it'll be much easier to go through. So you're going to do that for 10 rows. So you're going to do your chain stitch, and then you're going to do 10 rows of the half double crochet stitches. So going one way is 1 row, back the other way is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I have a completed project of 10 rows. This is what we're going to look like at the end. So you're going to have a tail where you started off, and when you get to the very end, okay, you'll have this loop here. So, and let me mention to you one more time. So you are going to chain stitch 15, you're going to turn it around, and you're going to half double crochet 14, you're going to do 1 more chain stitch on the 15, turn it around, and do your 14 half double crochet. Then you're going to chain stitch 1 more time at the end, turn it around, and you're going to do 14 half double crochet, and you're going to go back and forth that way. When you get to your 10th row and you've done your last chain stitch at the end for 15, you're going to end up, you're going to cut off. I did this generously because I was bringing it into work. Let me grab my scissors. But you probably want to cut off from your yarn. I don't know if you can see. This is your last loop. We're going to weave this piece of yarn through the top. So you're going to want to give a good 6 inches on your tail. And you're going to cut it. Then you're going to take, you're going to do one last stitch where you pull it all the way through to create a knot. And pull it at the end, okay? And then you're going to take your needle, thread your yarn through, and you just want to weave this tail into the project so that you don't have a loose end hanging off the edge, and it looks nice. So you're going to take a look. We're going to go through the edge back up here, and you're just going to kind of weave it through in and out of the stitches, and you'll just want to go through and do that. I'm just going right under all the stitches here, and you can start pulling it. And you want to bring it all the way to the end. So now you're going to have a little tail on this end. It's weaved through the whole length. You're going to take your scissor, and I like to pull it a little bit and then cut it, because then I can pull this way and it just kind of melds into the design, and you can't even tell from this side where your tail was. So you're going to do that twice. You're going to do that on the opposite end where you started as well. Take your needle. And you're going to weave it through. Let's do that really quickly. Pull it straight there. And I'm going to pull a little bit on it, cut it, and it will. So there we go. That is what the base of your mug rug is going to look like. And the last step to your mug rug is going to be putting your fringe on. So it's going to look like this at the end with all the fringe. So you're going to take one of your 20 strips, and you're going to take your crochet needle, and on the ends, you're going to pull it through. You're going to fold it in half. You're going to put it on the end of your hook. You're going to pull the loop through, and then you're going to take your two ends and pull it like that. And you will have one of your fringe done. Let's do one or two more to show you what it's going to start looking like. Go through another one of the holes. Take your loop, and you kind of want to make sure your two ends are lined up and even. Take the two strands and pull them through. I hope you can see that. There you go. You just want to make sure you're pulling it through in the same direction all the way across on each side, okay? And as you go, it'll start filling out a little bit more. If you do want your fringe to be longer, cut it longer than 4 inches. Like I said, I've given you plenty of yarn to work with. Just make sure when you start that you've cut your fringe. If you want 5-inch fringe, if you want 6-inch fringe, that's up to you, how long you want it. The 4-inch I think looks nice. There you go. So you can see it'll start filling out as you do it. You have 10 on each side, and in the end it will look like this. This yellow one I did, I believe, a 5-inch fringe, so it does look a little ruggier. And on the thicker gauge yarn, it does kind of look short. So if you wanted to go 5 inches, that might be a better choice on if you went with a larger gauge yarn the next time you went to buy yarn. So all my family ended up with mug rugs for the holidays. They're a great gift. It only takes me about like an hour or so to do one in front of the TV, depending on what you're watching and what you're doing. So it's a quick project. I feel like very accomplished when I'm done because I have something I can use in my house. I have a bunch of them all over the place. Like I said, my family has their own mug rugs. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. If you get to a point and you're not sure, if you want to join the knitting and crochet needlework group on January 20th, again, that's via Zoom at 6 p.m. and we'll have that posted on our Facebook page as well as in our newsletter. If you have any questions, please give us a call. If you're not sure about something or you're have a question about downloading magazines from Libby, because there are some great beginner crochet magazines there, feel free to pick up the phone at 424-4044. And that is it for now. Bye, everyone.